Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench, episode number 63. My name is Elvis.
Hey guys, my name is Barbara. Hope you're having a good week so far. I know it's Monday, but we'll make it through.
Every week it's a Monday.
Yeah, no doubt.
We bring you 3 more interviews we got when Barb and I were invited down, or over if you're in Florida, to Texas for the Dental Lab Association of Texas, commonly known as the DLAT, conference back in early April. It was a really good meeting, and we talked to some fantastic technicians while we were there. The very first interview we did was with Chris Ling from Lifelike Dental Studios in Temple, Texas. Chris talked about how he started in film and television and then used his creative talent to open his 5-person Crown and Bridge lab. We also chat with Chris about the DLAT meeting and how he found out about Voices from the Bench.
Which I love. Great interview. Just saying, we had a great time in Texas.
Next up, we talk with Box CDT from Rainbow Bridge Dental in Richardson, Texas.
Who, by the way, I'm going to keep interrupting. Sorry, but this is my role. He knows my father from 30 years ago. So it's pretty cool when you run into somebody that knows your father after 30 years. So
Gary was a big participant back in the day when the NADL was made up of delegates. He was actually the president of the Texas Association back in 1983. I was only 6 years old.
Don't rub it in.
He talks about the old days and the joys of owning a one-man lab. We then wrap up this episode with a conversation with a father and son lab from Weatherford, Texas. Darrel and Bobby Clark own Clark Dental Lab and Clark Implant Solutions. This 5-man lab is on the cutting edge that goes way back many years, and they were pioneers in the world of fixed hybrids. Join us as we talk about the early days, long before the term all-on-4 was used.
Another great interview with those two. It's pretty cool meeting a father and a son, talk about the early days, how he got into the lab, how they get along. It's really, really awesome.
All right, I'm going to do my best here. Y'all hunker down and enjoy the ramblings of Chris, Gary, Darrel, and Bobby from Texas.
Woohoo! Yeah! Let's talk about the Dental Laboratory Association of Texas, celebrating its 75th year serving the dental labs in Texas and surrounding states. They would also like to say a howdy to all the CDTs out there listening to this podcast in this month of June. It's CDT and Dental Laboratory Technician Month, so we would like to thank you guys as well. Y'all make the dental laboratory industry awesome. We'd also like to thank all of their members, attendees, exhibitors, and speakers that made their conference back in April a very awesome, huge success. Elvis and I were there, and we cannot say what a wonderful, amazing conference it was. They had a 20% increase, which doesn't surprise me at all, in attendance over last year. They would also like to thank us, the Voices from the Bench, for coming to their conference, and we would like to thank them as well, and showcasing the great members that we have in our industry. They look forward to all of the interviews that came out of their conference, and a heads up, Voices from the Bench will be back at the 2020 DLAT Southwest Conference, and that is March 26th through 29th. I'm from Florida, so we'll see y'all in Texas next year. Keep up with all the news, updates, and even a map of their amazing laboratory members over at, write this down, listen to it, and don't forget it, DLAT.org. Check it out.
Voices from the Bench. The interview.
Oh,
yeah.
wonderful.
So I just got here. What is it? To the
DLAT.
DLAT dental conference in Texas. I was the late bloomer, and the late one just rolled in. They actually have seats for us, for people to sit in and watch us interview. I popped in, and Elvis was talking to Chris Ling. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am fantastic, but I hate being late. Elvis, what's up, bro?
Oh, fantastic day so far. Wonderful talk from Peter Peasy.
Yes.
Am I saying that right? Did
Yes.
you see that?
I was on the second row. Did you hear him talk about the guy's nipples getting hard?
Was that you?
That
Oh,
was
my
me.
God. Are you serious?
Yeah.
We're going to
I guess
start
I
our
was
podcast with that. That's pretty awesome.
I guess I was getting really excited about something.
So can you tell me
Was that
what your
really
first
you?
words were to
Oh,
Elvis?
I saw Elvis coming out of the elevator, and it's kind of weird because when you hear people on the podcast and you listen to them enough, and you like start to think, I know these people, right?
Yeah.
They don't know who you are. So he comes off, and I said, "Hey, it's Elvis," and he looks at me like, I don't even know who you are.
you? I'm still getting.
And I said, okay. I listen to the podcast every week. And I was so excited to have you guys here because it's going to be an entire weekend of fireballs and fuckising.
Yeah. I was going to not. See, now that we have the fuckising
it's
word,
out
now I
there.
don't feel so bad that I actually say that word because
You
now
said it last
it actually
week.
means focus. So fireball, I'm not so sure, but,
Yeah, I hear
was
you
gonna
talk
be
about
hate.
it all the time, though. So
I think fuckus should be our new industry word.
I know.
I think it should explode into just everybody using it instead of focus.
I
So
think a redesign, with the T-shirts.
Oh, there you go.
that's a great idea, too.
Put that on the back.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah.
So where are you from? So you're actually,
Temple, Texas.
which is how far from here?
It's about 2 hours or so.
So you drove in?
Yeah.
And
It's
you
about,
come every year?
I try to come every other year. I try to go Chicago, Dallas, Dallas. Because
Yeah. So you own a lab, or you
Yes,
work? Good for
yes.
you. What kind of lab?
Crown Bridge.
Good. Awesome.
So-
So you're just like me.
Yep.
You love what you do, right?
I do love what I do.
Except-
I don't love management.
I know.
Yeah, we were talking about that before we started recording.
Yes.
The love of HR.
Yeah.
and
People. That's been one of the things this week that's been my biggest obstacle, and I'm a little mentally drained. So I was actually happy to be able to leave the lab, come here, talk to new people, give me a little bit of energy because I'm feeling a little down. So
People you're not
I'm
responsible
actually human.
for.
Yeah, exactly. Feeling a little down, needed a meeting, get it out of my element a little bit, and
Yep.
talk to people that don't work for me so I can just get re-energized. And that's what I love about these meetings is coming, meeting people, getting re-energized, and just getting jazzed for what we
Everybody
do.
loves this industry.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
and when you have a small lab, like I've got 5 people,
Mm-hmm.
we have a small lab. You end up being in your own little bubble.
Yep.
And when you come to these things or go to Chicago, it's like, oh, there
I'm
are
not the
other
only one.
people,
Yeah.
other people
Whole
who
lifeline
are
out
working 18 hours a day, or
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Who,
I'm
you
not
know,
alone.
Right. And other people are having the same problems with materials or whatever that I'm having. It's not just me. I'm not the one screwing everything up. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So it's very encouraging.
Yeah, cool.
It's
Well, I
welcoming.
tell you, it's kind of cool when Elvis told me that first person acknowledged him, and I was like, good for you. That's pretty neat. We actually like going out on the road because you get face-to-face contact, and,
Yeah,
you can
it's fun.
see, people smiling and people just their faces where we do everything on the radio and you can't see it. So we are actually liking this going on the road thing.
Yeah, but then I can imagine what's happening in my mind. So
No.
I'm assuming that when you do the podcast together, you're in separate
Yes.
locations.
Yeah.
She's in Florida.
Yep.
Usually out.
I'm in 90-degree heat. He's in 20-degree cold.
20-degree weather,
and
yeah.
He's always all jealous of me because usually it's on a Saturday and I've already been outside and it's beautiful and he's
Yeah.
freezing his ass off. So they're going to bleep me on that one. So
Oh, that's all right.
That's all right.
You get bleeped a lot.
I know. That's a little bit of my reputation. I think that might be one of the reason Elvis asked me on here because of my my comedy in my mouth. So
Yeah, keeping
hopefully
it
it's
spicy.
working. And
It's
keeping
working.
it spicy.
I show up to. Here's a secret. I show up to an episode with a page and a half of notes. She shows up with just ready to go, and that connection and combination works. I think. So.
Yeah, and I can see that. Like when I listen,
Yeah.
I can tell
I'm
you're
reading a
all
script.
nice and organized.
He's a serious
and
one.
you're
Yeah.
flying by the seat of your pants. Like, I'm having fun.
So tell us, I'm interested. How did you hear about our podcast? Where did that come from? I mean,
Well, what happened was I've been listening to podcasts since I opened my lab like 13 years ago. And just when it was just me in my backyard at first, I could just – there was something for me to do while I was working. So – and this was kind of at the infancy of podcasting.
Sure.
And so then as we grew and got more and more people, I still helps me to work if I'm just kind of listening to something. And so the other day several months ago, I just thought, I wonder if there's any podcast for dental techs. I mean.
No way, that's so cool.
There's a ton for dentists. And how,
ton.
how dentists can make lots of money and,
Yeah.
But there's nothing about lab techs. And I just happened to look at it. It was like, I think you guys only had like 1 or 2 episodes at that time. And so I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I would listen and I would hear some of the people that I've, seen at the meetings. And I'm like, oh, and then you had Cade on. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's cool. Then when he said you guys were coming here, I was like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah.
And here you are, the first one to sit down with us.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate you listening to us. Hopefully we're getting better and better and better because this was an infancy thing, Elvis's brainchild. Yeah. We were very nervous our first 10 episodes, and then now I think we've settled in and people are starting to like us, and we're growing. And
haven't got hate mail yet.
No, we haven't. A couple that didn't appreciate my mouth, I think one person, and so I had to clean it up a little bit, which I get. So, but thanks for listening to us. We appreciate it.
And I'm really glad to hear that you guys are kind of working with NOAC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
NOAC's a great
company.
Oh,
shout out to NOAC.
And Jill,
thank you.
she's amazing.
Yes,
I just say, hey, I need to get this, and she'll say, a lot of times she'll say, you sure you want that one? Because I can save you money by getting this one instead, and it works the same, and everybody is using it.
That happened with us the other day. We ordered some sort of stone removal, and Sean called me and was like, this other product is made by the same people, and it's half the price. And I'm like, why don't they? Okay. And my denture department, no idea. Didn't care, and we saved a ton of money.
Yeah.
That's
Same
the kind
here.
of thing that really makes a difference.
Right. And with a small lab, it's saving a little bit of money.
Oh.
Adds up, but I can only imagine with a large laboratory.
How much it adds up.
A little bit of savings just compounds and really helps the bottom line.
So how did you get into this field?
My goodness.
Your dad did it, or
no,
that story? Or
no, my I got a degree in television and film.
Interesting.
Yeah, my minor was photography, so I was always kind of artistic.
Photography, I love photography.
And so I got out of school. My wife and I came back to our hometown. I worked at the TV station for a year, but minimum wage just was not going to cut it. She got pregnant with our first kid, and I was like, okay, now I got to be responsible. So I tried a couple other jobs, but then I answered an ad in the newspaper. My sister actually saw the ad, and she said, I don't know what a dental ceramist is, but it sounds like something you might like. And then I went to the lab, and it was just one guy out of his building, out of his house, and I said, I don't know what a dental ceramist is, but I'm willing to learn. And I started pouring models, worked my way through all the aspects of it, and then after about 4 years, I went to a larger, more aesthetically quality-driven laboratory, and then that's when I realized how bad I was.
But we've all had those moments.
Yeah, that's good because then you could say, all right, I need to get here.
Yeah.
And so you work and work and work and push yourself. And then after about 4 years there, you make more money working for yourself than for somebody else.
Well, good for you. Congratulations for
that is
doing
a unique way. I've not heard from film and TV to dental technician. That's an interesting fact.
Makes sense,
I was so kind of was a little bit depressed because I had no creative outlet. And then when I went for this job, I said, I like to make models when I was a kid. I like working with tiny things and little bitty details.
Yeah.
And so I said, I think I'm going to like this.
Nice.
And I love it.
How many years ago was that?
22.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
I'm a ceramist as well by nature. I love it. Always have. Always will.
Well, I aspire to get credentialed like
Thank
you are. I
appreciate
mean,
it.
I've looked into it once and I was like, wow, that's a lot of work, a lot of dedication.
Yeah, I'm glad it's behind me. Now I just move forward with the credentials.
Is there
But
any-
it was extremely challenging.
Is there any
and I
renewal
learned a
you have
lot
to do
from
with
it.
that?
You have to make sure you go to 2 meetings every 5 years.
Oh,
So you
that's
have
it?
to continue,
Yeah.
being with the academy, current with the academy, but I don't have to redo anything
do-
unless
yeah.
I let it lapse, and then you have to go through the whole thing, which I would
Never do.
not advocate ever to do again. So, anyhow.
Well, it's inspiring.
Thank
and
you.
knowing that is inspiring. And I was really inspired this morning in Peter Peasy's presentation. I've seen his lectures before, but for some reason, this morning's really got to me. And
Well, good. That's
Well,
what these things are all
yeah.
about, hitting an emotion. And I think us dental technicians, ceramists, artists, we have that emotion that connects with each other. So hopefully we'll be able to get him over here and have a word with him and be able to interview him.
Yeah.
I'm
I
really
want to tell
looking
him we
forward
talked to
doing
the guy
that.
that had hard nipples.
Yeah.
Yes, that's actually a freaking good segue. Perfect.
oh,
Well, thank
You
you.
will always be
thank
that
you.
guy.
Yes, Mr. Nipple Man.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Chris, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. It
Oh,
was great
sure.
to meet
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
I
For
knew
having
you'd like
me on,
coming
and
on
I am.
with us.
I am.
We'll let you know when your interview goes live, and we'll
Great.
let you
and
hear it
I
before.
No, I won't even listen to that episode.
I know. That's how I feel about myself, but you'll like it. It's
I'm going
fun.
to take one of these
Oh,
pins.
please.
Okay.
And
Take
I'm
a
gonna
handful.
Thank you for
I'll
coming.
take a handful of these.
Yeah, we
Take 'em back to the
appreciate you
lab.
listening. Pass on the word, and
I
thanks
will.
for
I
sitting
will.
with us
Maybe
for a
I'll.
moment.
Maybe I'll talk somebody else into coming
Oh
in.
yeah, please. I
Please.
think we're gonna grab her now. Yes.
Oh,
sir.
yeah. The look on her face.
Yeah, she's
No.
like, I want to, but I don't, but I do. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Have a
See
great
ya.
meeting.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Strictly audio.
We have a face for podcasts. So we don't do video. So we are here, day 2.
Day 2.
DLAT meeting here in Grapevine, Texas. Joining us is Gary Box,
Correct.
CDT.
CDT,
Correct.
Rainbow Bridge Dental.
Correct.
How are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you.
So Gary came by to say hi to us at the podcast, and as we were actually just chit-chatting, he actually knows my father and Elvis's boss.
Yeah,
so
Larry.
It's kind of cool.
That's right. Brought back some memories almost immediately. Bob Warner from Night Dental.
Yep.
I'm sure we have met before at an NADL meeting
Yep,
somewhere along the
probably.
line, and of course Larry Sawinski was delegate, and as I recall, may have been district councilman there. I'm not sure, but I was district councilman of the NADL's 6th district:
Wow.
Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, and Missouri.
So back in those days, the district was multiple states.
Correct.
Oh, I thought it was one of each state.
There were 8 districts, I believe,
Okay.
for the continental United States, and Alaska and Hawaii. Florida, of the 3rd or 4th district, I don't recall now, but Texas had a very warm relationship with the folks in that district, and often found ourselves voting accordingly.
Wow.
So
I'll take you guys back. That's like, what, 45 years ago, maybe? 40, 45? You started your lab in 69, which was the same
well,
year my
actually,
dad did.
I graduated high school in 69
Oh, okay.
and got my associate's degree in 71 from Texas State Technical Institute, which, among so many others, dental technology training is things change and they fall away.
Yeah.
So
It's unfortunate.
So you started your laboratory. What do you specialize in at this point?
I think most people recognize me as a ceramist
Ah, me too.
at Crown and Bridge. I'm certified in Crown and Bridge and ceramics, so
Two
two
certifications,
specialties.
eh? Good for you. Congratulations.
But my day to day, and it's just me in the laboratory now, closer to the closer to the back door than I am the front.
So how does a one-man lab manage all of that? So you're doing all your own model work, all of your own everything?
Exactly.
So you probably have some long days, huh?
My wife would say.
I'm sure she would. Yes, they do. So you.
No, I love the flexibility of. I've often said, and probably for many reasons, but I'm not sure I would hire somebody like myself.
That's hilarious.
That's giving yourself a backhanded compliment, though, because I'm sure there's a reason to your success. So,
well, I've managed to keep the doors open. Dentistry has been good. Honestly,
Yep.
it is a passion, and maybe I can say it this way: I've clients that I started with, or at that time of retiring as well. Their children are into their practices now, and so anyway, I've never advertised, for business.
Ever?
Never.
Wow.
So it just keeps going through the generations, just like us, huh? So I know how doctors are; they love their children to be doctors.
Largely, that's been good, but I've always had positive referrals. So
Well, good for you.
That's the best way to do it.
So what are you doing at this meeting? Are you going to classes, or you just like
sure,
to socialize?
Sure. I love the education, and there has been some good education
I know
here.
this is an amazing meeting.
But nothing, attending meetings is a habit.
Yeah,
it's a good habit.
It's a good way to put it.
But you do develop relationships and friends that cause you to want to return.
You're sure. I've always noticed that at these meetings you have so many people that retire, and they keep coming to the meetings.
I know.
And you're like,
it's because we all love each other. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's a lifelong bond. The people in our industry are just so special. And I love the fact that even though we're competitors, we all have relationships with each other. And it's just so, I've said it many times on the podcast, but it's extremely impressive how our industry relates to each other.
Well, it is, and so it is, on the political side as well. It's important to be able to, have a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be at the sake of a friendship.
Exactly.
So you can disagree on something, but and it's important that you do, because people just don't see things the same way, and doesn't mean that one is right or one is wrong, but
Yeah, I agree.
I think more important than anything in the climate these days, it's very important to see a bigger picture and not just what is in front of my nose.
Mm-hmm. Well put. Well put. I think that's why Elvis and I serve as well, because, we want to take care of a lot of different issues and a lot of different things that hit us, on a daily and a monthly basis, and I agree. So you were you were NADL how long ago? I think you said you served with my dad.
80s. I was president of Texas in 83.
Wow.
I served NADL probably as on the education committee initially.
were you a teacher?
No, not in that sense. NADL had a number of committees. The education committee was one of them, and a part of that, and as it were at the time, consultants to the Commission on Dental Accreditation for ADA, came from, the NADL education committee. So, became a part of what did. But each state, just thinking back on the organizational aspect of everything, for NADL, each state began, with 2 delegates, and then I think for every 50 members beyond that, you added 1 delegate. So Texas
Makes
had
sense.
one time probably had as many as 6 or 7 delegates.
Wow.
To NADL. That was a very democratic process for NADL, and was wonderful in a lot of ways. But you learned a lot about people. You learned a lot about the country, how it thinks and acts on issues. Texas was very instrumental in a number of things, most notably perhaps for state legislation on control of dental technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the things that I really respect about it, because when I do business in Texas, so I have to have all of the licensing, and I have to turn all of that in and pay a fee every year and take an exam and do all of that, and I think that's very impressive. It keeps people on the straight and narrow, and I think Texas is doing a really good job still in handling the way that they handle our industry.
Well,
make sure we're licensed.
Once again, things change, and times change, and legislatures change, and it's almost a little ironic, but seems like as other states now are being successful in legislation, Texas unfortunately has changed in the dental practice. The Certification Council, which we had until this last session, was deemed no longer necessary. So
yeah, I think Cade talked about that when he was on a little bit.
Yeah, we had Cade Tippett on.
Oh, good.
We interviewed him.
Cade's a good man.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen him. He's been running around this whole. I think I saw him one time. He's been so busy. He's on the board, and they just go. Yeah. So but it's an excellent meeting. I can see why they're all so busy.
Well, I'm proud of him. He's a good thinker, but a lot of things run through that young man's mind, and it's hard to
hard to keep up.
Hard to keep it all going.
Well, thank you very much for sitting down with us. We appreciate
what a pleasure. What a pleasure
time.
for me.
Thank you for coming by. I love your hat. It's so authentic.
It's so Texas.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I guess that's my hallmark.
Yes, sir.
Remember for one thing in this world, and that's a Stetson, right?
Yeah, baby. Nice. I'll make sure I give my dad your hellos.
Well, please do.
I'm sure he's going to be a blast
and
from
Larry, tell Larry howdy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a great meeting.
Thank you guys for being here. I think this is a very neat concept, and wish many successes to to sharing the ideas and thoughts of people. It does nothing but bring us all a little closer together.
That's what's important.
Thanks. Look at his shirt. It says stronger together.
Good job.
That's our motto. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we are at Voices from the Bench, live from Texas. We have Darrel Clark and Bobby Clark, father and son from Clark Dental Lab, just rolled in to chat with us. How you guys doing?
Doing great, yeah.
Weatherford, Texas.
Where is that?
It's about 30 miles west of Fort Worth.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So about an hour from here?
Yeah, so still in what you consider the Metroplex. We just prefer to live on the fringes of it so we don't have to deal with the traffic as much.
Love it.
Does most of your business come from Fort Worth?
Actually, we get business from all over the state. We kind of have a unique type of laboratory. We almost like a practice in a way. We kind of specialize in fixed hybrid restorations.
Oh, nice.
That type of
Awesome.
And so that's the bulk of what we do. And because of that, we have to provide services for doing the conversions
Who does the
so
conversions?
forth. I generally do those.
I was going to say, I bet you do. I do.
Well,
most.
After having doing this as many years as I have, it's easier for me to do that, and it kind of gets me away from the bench.
I was going to say, and it gets him out of the lab too.
I mean, he's hardly in the lab. I mean, he's out doing those every day.
I am, So last week in East Texas, and the week before in Amarillo, next week in Harlingen and Brownsville.
How many conversions are you usually doing? Multiples a week?
Yeah, multiples a week.
Yeah.
Total probably somewhere between around 225, 250 a year, something like that. So
you guys are doing quite well.
Yeah,
because those cases
that type of business
amazing.
has been very good to us over the years, and we kind of got into it really, really early. Fixed hybrids in general. I mean, years ago, as a technician, I was working in a large lab in Fort Worth called Patterson-McKinney. Working with a technician. A lot of people will remember his name was Jim Chase. He's long gone now, but Jim was actually the guy that came up with the porcelain laminate veneers, the very first ones. And we did a lot of those there, but over time, root form implants were becoming popular, and I thought, I'm not sure which way I want to go. Do I want to work with these veneers, or I want to work with these implants? And I think it was had a mechanical aptitude, and I thought, I don't want to deal with all these issues, aesthetic issues from these veneers. I'll go this route.
So
I went that way.
I don't even like QC and veneers. They're just
I know. It's crazy. Yeah. So, but anyway, one of the very first fixed hybrids we ever did, and I think you'll like this story. I have a niece who has a congenital condition called ectodermal dysplasia, and from the time she was about 5 years old up until she was about 13, that condition she has no hair, teeth, or sweat glands.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a congenital condition. It's kind of rare, but there's some people with it. But at any rate, when she was about 13, up until she was 13, I would make her dentures every year as she grew. But when she was about 13, I read an article about dental implants from a local oral surgeon. And I told my brother-in-law, I said, you need to take her to see this guy. And so he takes her to see him, and he gets all excited about it. And because there's this new type of restoration called a fixed hybrid. They didn't call them all on fours back in those days.
Yep.
And so she was accepted for it, but he was even more excited that they were related to a dental technician. So next thing I knew, I was on a plane to Chicago going to the Halmedica facility, who in those days was a distributor of the Branomark implants. Mm-hmm. And so it was like the second course in the USA on how to make a fixed hybrid. In those days we made them out of gold and processed denture teeth through them. And so she got one of the very first fixed hybrids. And that was, 35 to 40 years ago. Wow. I can't remember exactly. But she still has those implants.
I was going to ask,
and we've replaced the teeth on the gold bar a few times. Mm-hmm. And then as time went on, she got older, she became a dental technician. She actually works in our lab.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's
and
so
a few years ago, she decided she wanted a titanium one. Wow. So she made herself one. Yeah. But that's one of the things. I love that story because as I'm talking to people about how well these things work, I'm able to illustrate that here's someone that's had one this long, and if they were that good 35 years ago, imagine how good they are now.
Heck yeah.
And so, but what's exciting now is what Bobby's doing now with the new products and the new materials.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, what do you do, Bobby?
So here's his son, Bobby. So number one, I want to ask, because I'm a daughter of a dental technician.
Yeah.
Did he make you go to the lab, or was it something you wanted to do? How did you get into the business with your father?
I mean, he had me help out a little bit when
Growing
I was
up?
in high school and stuff. When I was in high school, I had a pager. And he would page me in classes to go do pickups, and I got in so much trouble from the teachers. Like, I don't know if they thought I was.
You would leave school to go pick up cases?
No, I had to go after.
Oh, after.
But I think the teachers thought I was selling drugs because
exactly. Yeah.
So I would do that, and then no, I actually thought I was going to be a dentist, and I went off to Texas Tech, and
God bless you.
Kind of changed my mind, and then I thought I was going to go to law school. I ended up just getting a business degree from Tech. And I got to the end of the process, and I looked at the jobs, and I called him up, and I said, Dad, can I come do this? And he said, yeah, of course, but I'm not going to train you. I don't have time. So there was actually heard you guys talk about it with Cade Tippett not too long ago. There was a dental lab program at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio, and I was in that program a year behind Cade.
That's
okay.
Cool.
And,
that's
and
a
so,
nice connection.
So I did that for 2 years, and then I came and worked for him. And so started out just doing removables, the dentures. That's what I specialized in. Mm-hmm. And then we've been doing fixed hybrids from day one. And so we did a lot of those. And then lately we've really moved into the milling technology. And so we're doing a lot of monolithic type deals where we have a titanium bar, and then we have milled PMMA or milled zirconia teeth that we bond to the bar.
Yep, I've seen that done.
And those are working out really well. And then we're doing full contour zirconia ones as well. And so, we're just kind of pushing the technology. We've got 3 mills in the lab, and really kind of, which, for us, we're a 5-man lab.
That's awesome.
But we're still able to have this technology. And that's the thing about the fixed hybrid is it's such a premium product.
Such high margins.
That has allowed us to do that. And So we're doing really well, and I'm always looking at new materials. I was over there looking at some new zirconias and stuff like that. And
keeps dipping into my retirement account.
Yes,
I do.
Of course he does.
I do.
Stop buying equipment.
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
So when you come to these meetings, you check out the new materials
Always.
and go to class and see what's up. Do you go to Chicago
Always.
as well?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we were in Chicago. Yeah, I saw you guys in Chicago, but we just were.
But we couldn't reel you in at that point, but we got you now.
I know.
There was a line there.
Well, we're so happy you guys stopped by.
yes,
This
this
is
is
our
awesome.
first Texas meeting. I'm sure you guys come every year, right?
Sporadically.
Most years.
Yeah.
Most years, yeah.
Depends on how good we are at keeping up with our hours.
I was going to say, it's
sometimes
hard
you get
to
down
take
to
a
the
Friday
last
off.
minute and you got to go, oh, no, I need that.
Yeah.
So, but it's also good to come here and see our peers walking around. And I just ran into a couple of guys I thought were dead already. So.
Are you guys going to the party tonight? I heard they have like a reception or something for the president. Elvis and I are going to go over there and see what's going on. It sounds like fun.
I don't know. The Final Four's tonight, isn't it?
No, it's tomorrow night.
Oh, it's tomorrow night. Okay.
Who's in the Final Four? I know
Texas Tech.
It's Texas Tech.
Man, is that your shirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're playing Michigan State tomorrow night,
Michigan
and
State
then
and
you've
Tech.
got.
Those are the two underdogs, right? Or they didn't expect them to go all the way, or they did, but they didn't.
No, that would be Auburn and Texas Tech.
Because I know when Duke got eliminated, my son was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Duke got eliminated."
I know we were excited because now we're playing Michigan State instead of Duke.
That's
So
cool.
So we got a real shot. So we're really pumped.
So we know
about
what
that.
you guys will be doing then. So you'll be drinking beer and watching basketball.
Probably.
Or that's my assumption anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Listen, it's really great what y'all are doing here.
Thank you.
This is very awesome. Yeah, when I saw this in the podcast list, I was like, this is amazing. So,
well, thank you.
Is that how you found out about it? Just popping up in a recommended podcast? I'm just curious.
It wasn't in recommended. I'm just always listening to podcasts all day long, and so I'll just type something in like, oh, is there a podcast about woodworking? And I'll put it in or whatever. And one day I just put in dental lab technology, and there you were.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, I hope I hope that our material's keeping you guys busy and you like it and you enjoy it. And we just try to keep getting better, and hopefully we are. But we love doing live interviews because you actually get to.
Oh yeah.
You know,
sure.
Most of the time we're on computers and we're far away, so we'll be traveling a lot, and we. Thank you for listening to us and for being so positive about it and for sitting down with us, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty neat. Second generation. I'm a second generation.
Absolutely.
And I know how much our industry loves second generation.
The grandkids want to work in the lab, but you know, it's not real practical. They're really,
not yet anyways.
They're pretty good about sorting teeth.
Yeah,
they'll
be doing model work and playing with all of it like I did growing up. And then sooner or later, you may want one of them there.
Well, it's so different because my son is 10, and, when I was that age, I would have been on the model bench. But now he's walking in there, and he's looking at 3-shape. And he's going, Dad, I think I could do this. And so, so it's a total different entry point for him than it would have been for me.
We can outsource his job.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, they're eerie.
Don't tell him that. Well, thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And congratulations for doing such high-end work.
Thank you.
I really respect that.
Glad
keep the margins high and keep making money. And
we keep trying.
Yep, keep making patients happy.
All right.
Appreciate
Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye.
So we can't thank enough Chris Ling, Gary Box, and Darrel and Bobby Clark. Thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for having the guts to sit down with us and tell us about your tale. I know everybody gets a little freaked out, a little nervous when I reel you in, but you know what? Those were really, really great interviews. Sorry to Chris, who will forever be known as the hard nipples guy. Everybody's got to be famous for something, so thank you. And we are still celebrating CDT and Dental Technician Appreciation Month. Through the industry. I've seen it on every single Facebook page, certainly celebrating it on Voices from the Bench. We had a bunch of people send in their audio.
Hello, Elvis and Barb. This is Dan Elfring in Colorado Springs. June happens to be CDT and Dental Technician of the Month, and I would like to highlight a couple individuals. Today I received a package from Joseph Colbeck, who is from Colbeck Dental. He has developed his own OMP template and is just a super enterprising young individual. Today he sent me his own little lapel pin with his logo on it and a pencil and a very nice picture to post and hang on the wall. But he is always teaching dental courses on setting up dentures, which is very much needed in the industry these days, and just a very quality individual doing great things for our industry. So I'd like to highlight him, especially during this month. The other person I'd like to highlight is Bob Hicks. He's a good friend of mine. He's active within the DTG, and he too seems to be very generous, and every time I see him, he slips me a little magnetic lapel pin or an incisal guide pin or a hat, and just love the guy, and is actually the reigning world champion in the removable division. So good people doing good things for our industry, and I'd like to give a big shout out this month to those two individuals. Thanks, Barb, and thank you and Elvis for all that you're doing with Voices from the Bench. I started listening about a month ago, and now I'm hooked. I put in my AirPods and listened to all the interviews of all the various people that you're interviewing, and it's interesting to learn all about these people. So good things that you're doing, and very much needed. I hope more and more people find out about Voices from the Bench. Thanks very much.
Hi, my name is Mark Williamson. I'm a certified dental technician at Ottawa Dental Lab in Ottawa, Illinois. And I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to all the CDTs at Ottawa Dental Laboratory. We have about 23 CDTs. So congrats, Tex, and this is our month.
Hey guys, this is Barbara Wojin from Night Dental, and I really like to say thank you to all my CDTs as well as all my dental technicians that I've been working with for about 30 years. They're the heart of the company. They're what makes us who we are. Everybody has a special skill and a special personality that they bring to the table every day, and I could not run Night Dental without them. So thank you, everybody. Special thanks to my dad, CDT, Robert Warner. Have a great day. We can't just stop there. We need more. Come on, guys. You guys listen to us every week. Please, please, please. Elvis, can you please tell them how to do it? Because you just had to explain it to me. Go ahead.
So if you have an iPhone, which 90% of the world, I think, has, there's an app on there called Voice Memos. It comes with the iPhone, but it's a free download if you already deleted it. It's a simple, open the app, push the red button, start talking, email us the file at info@voicesfromthebench.com. If you don't have an iPhone, there's many voice recording apps you can use on an Android phone, or you can actually send us a message through Facebook. Messenger has their own voice recording option. To the left side of where you type, there's 4 buttons, and if you hit that, the very first one is voice, and you can record yourself thanking that special dental technician in your life.
Thank you. You see, y'all, he just had to explain that to me. I think it's really cool that they actually celebrate for a whole month. We need to celebrate, so let's do it. Please, please, please send us how many people you love, how many people you celebrate, what you think about them, and we will play it here on the podcast. So thank you. Please, please. Let's go, everybody. I'm going to start calling people, and you know you're going to hate that, so you better start sending. One more week to donate to Alexander Wunsch's 80-mile paddle boating fundraiser called Crossing for the Cure. It raises money for cystic fibrosis, which is oh so important. So head over to this episode's show notes for the link. Good luck, and thank you for all you do.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Which I might edit out. Who knows?
I like it.